Question for you, friendos. Do you ever look at your bushcraft knife sitting in your hand or sitting in its sheath and think, I love this, but I wish I could fold it in half and stick it in my pocket? Me neither. But Cold Steel went and made a knife for all of those who nodded in the affirmative. This is the Cold Steel Finn Wolf. This is a folding bushcraft knife. This is a folding knife primarily designed for use against wood. But if the packaging is anything to be believed, it is a folding utility knife for really any situation that life may throw at you. So I've gone and tested this here blade. I got the nice red one. These ones are new for 2017. Red and green, I think, and blue and all sorts of cool handle colors. I got the red one because I didn't have a red knife and I thought it'd be nice and high vis for if I was to take it camping. So let's have a look at it next to, I guess, my closest competitor knife, which is the Mora Companion. So there they are, the two of them. The Finn Wolf is a 3.5-inch blade and the Mora is the 4-inch blade. The Finn Wolf weighs about 3.5 ounces, 3.4 I believe. The Mora without the sheath is about 4 ounces. So both pretty lightweight, pretty low cost bushcraft knives as well. So both of these are fully scanty grinds. There isn't any micro bevels on either of these. The Finn Wolf, at least in my example, at least to my naked eye, goes all the way down to the edge with scandiness. And they both have pretty comfortable sort of plastic or rubbery handles. The Finn Wolf, mainly plastic. So naturally, I went and did some feather sticking. Oh yeah, I'm not a bushcrafter, but I do this when I need to make a fire, because no matter how much you do or do not bushcraft, if you can put a flame underneath a big thick log and it just catches fire, then you are magic, my friend. Usually you need to do something like this to get some shavings or get some tinder, or just carry around a big old pile of newspapers to fold up and use that as your starter. Who knows? But it did a fine job of this. Very, very good. Scandy grind performs like any good Scandy grind does, biting straight into that wood. You can do deep cuts, you can do surface shallow cuts to make nice thin or thick feathers. It does really well. I really enjoyed using it, much more than I thought I would. I've kind of thought this whole concept was cheesy, to be honest. I know that's bad to judge something before you've held it, but I thought folding a bushcraft knife, what is the point? I still don't see the point, really, but I think it's cool and fun, and I did enjoy using this knife. So maybe that is a point, being cool and fun. And of course, bushcraft, ahoy, something that the Companion doesn't do is strike fire steel with its sharpened spine. Check that out. Away, my fire, away. So overall, you've got a pretty high level of value here. These are about $35 in America and about $60 in Australia, depending on where you get them from, higher or lower or whatnot. You can get the standard sort of drab olivey coloured Finn Wolf for a little bit cheaper. These new ones seem to be about $5 or $10 more expensive. But how cool does the red look? That is proper red. That's like glowing red. It's great. This is a Triad locking knife. So the Triad Lock is what I'm showing you now. It's got that cutout in the back of the blade, that pin in the middle, and then that lock, all sandwiched together and go clunk. And so Cold Steel would probably say it's almost as strong as a fixed blade. And you know what? For a knife that's this small, maybe it is. It's nothing you're ever going to do to a knife this small is going to really challenge it as if it's going to be needing to be a fixed blade, in my opinion. I mean, you could try battening through like concrete slabs or like hammering it in and then stepping on it from the side or something like that, but that's about it. The knife has thumb studs that are dual that you can, I'm trying to show you there, you can unscrew the thumb stud for when you need to sharpen it, so that's kind of cool as well. Sharpening these ones, because there's no micro bevel, as long as you've got a nice flat bench stone, or a pair of them ideally, just I'd suggest going maybe 1,000 grit for touch-ups and then maybe 400 to 1,000 grit for your usual finish. Should perform just fine. So let's test that Triad Lock out then, shall we? Let's do a little bit of splitting. There you go. Split some kindling. If this was the only knife you had, the Triad Lock will sustain splitting wood of this size. So wood that's about as wide as the blade, no problems at all. Making thick sticks into thinner ones to then make feather sticks out of. Absolute pleasure to do, and no problems at all in terms of comfort or anything like that. So yeah, the Triad Lock is a strong lock. We all know that, and in this, it's a pretty good implementation of it. There are not too many grip features on the knife. There is just some shaping and some very mild sort of texturing of the grivery or sort of hard plastic really handles. There's no jimping or anything like that. There's a mild parrot's beak at the back, but I always kind of find well, I have found that that's a little bit sharp. I'll sort of see if I can show you here. I'll get the camera up. Those two little ridges there, yep, there we go. That's a bit catchy when you have your hand further back on the knife handle. So why you would have it there, I'm not sure. You're not going to be chopping with this blade, but just something I did kind of notice during use. Mild little nick or niggle there. There's a little bit of a sharpening choil there, so you can go all the way to the end of the blade with your stone without having to crunch up against the handles. So it's a bit tight, but it's not too bad at all. And this is it in my pocket. So it's got what is starting to become a pretty normal thing in cold steel. It's got the swappable pocket clip. So it's not a subtle knife in pocket, especially when it is bright red. It has a fair bit sticking out, a fair kind of like Santa hat looking thing sticking out of your pocket. Not the best for like pretending you're not carrying a pocket knife, which kind of goes again with my whole thing. If you're going to make it a pocket knife, why wouldn't you make it like super pocketable and deep carry? But anyway. Scandi grind. Let's talk about how it does with other EDC tasks, and the answer is it's not a star, not a superstar. These apples here, it goes in really easily to the Scandi, for that first bevel, and then it gets stuck. Cardboard, it did okay. It still feels less easy than cutting with like a high saber or a full flat. It is quite a low Scandi. It's not the best cardboard cutter in the world either. So, various thoughts on this knife. I'll just show in some size comparisons. So you've got like a Dragonfly 1 Salt, or Dragonfly 2 Salt there. You've got a Benchmade 940, which is a very similar size knife. You can see another 3.5-ish inch blade going on there. Similar dimensions overall, apart from a bit chunkier in the Fin Wolf. That's the Kaiser Gemini, a bit of a smaller EDC type knife, as in like pure EDC. And it's definitely not a tiny knife, and it definitely doesn't carry as great as a proper EDC knife. The spine thickness is just a touch thicker than you'll usually get. You'll usually get about 2.8 on an EDC knife. This one is just on 3mm, I think. Nothing you notice too badly in terms of, whoa, that knife looks hugely thick. But it's just the grind is thick. It's a thick and sort of inglamorous or indelicate grind for your everyday carry task. As good as it is on wood, it probably is something to just perhaps leave in the backpack rather than use as your everyday carry, at least in my opinion. I'll still be sticking with something more conventional for my daily carrier. Overall though, it's a good knife, and it's a good idea, and it's a good quality item. It's well made, well ground, and it does the woodwork stuff fantastically. Still a bit niche for me to use as just my one knife for the whole day. That's just how I've wound up thinking about it. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.